Hey everyone, Mr. W here. Today's lesson's on rounding numbers to the nearest 10. So what is rounding? Let's just say if you were going to the store and you want to buy a new jacket and the jacket price is $37. Rounding just means that you want to find a second number that's just close to the $37. So you could say, well, 37, the jacket is really about $40. Now, is that the exact price? No, it's not. But it is pretty close. And many times adults just want a number that's close. They don't always need an exact number. So today's lesson is going to be dealing with two-digit numbers like 18, and we're going to try to get close to something called a 10. So let's look and see how we do that today. So if we want to round 18 to the closest 10, we're going to find 18 on a number line today. And notice that 18 is in between the 10 in yellow on the left and the number 20 in yellow on the right. Our job is to pick one of those two numbers. We want the one that the 18 is closest to. So that would be the 20 for this example. And we would say that 18 rounds to 20. In other words, 18 is closest to the 10 of 20. Okay, so sometimes the problem is that students will say, well, 18, isn't that really closer to 17 or 19? And the truth is that, yes, it is closer, but remember, we're rounding to the closest 10. So in this example, our choices would only be the 10 or the 20. So 17 or 19 wouldn't be a choice because they're not 10s, okay? So let's look a little bit more. What are 10s? 10s are every number when you count by 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, all the way through 100. All of those numbers in white are referred to as 10s. So every number, when you count by 10s, like you see in blue, is what we mean by 10s. Okay, let's see how we're doing. Which of the following is a 10? A, 27, B, 45, C, 60, D, 89. Did you say C? Great. Which of the following is a 10? 51, 40, 12, or 8? Did you get 40? Great. Which of the following is a 10? 90, 50, 30, 80, or all of the above? Okay, great job. Okay, so let's round with a number line. This will be a little bit bigger than the last example. Directions: round the number to the closest 10. We're going to round 44. So in this case, we would find 44 on a number line. And 44 is in between the 40 and the 50. So those are our 10s, right? And our job is to pick only one of those numbers, the one that it is closest to. So in this case, that would be the 40. So we would say that 44 rounds to 40. Okay? So we're going to use a rounding chart today. And a rounding chart just takes the number line and it cuts it into pieces to make it easier to use. So for example, we would take the 0 to 10, and then the next section would be the 10 to 20, and then 20 to 30, and you get the idea, to 30 to 40. And after a while, we will have a rounding chart that looks like this. So our rounding chart is covering numbers from 1 to 100, and we have a tens column on the left side. Everything in yellow is our tens, and we also have a tens column on the right side, and those are also all tens. So how we use a rounding chart is that we would want to round the number to the closest 10. So let's start with 32. We would find 32 on the rounding chart, and notice that 32 is in between the 30 and the 40. Our job is to pick the one that it is closest to. So in this case, it's the 30. So we would say that 32 rounds to 30. Okay, round the number to the closest 10. 86. So let's find 86 on our rounding chart. that is in between the 80 and the 90, but 86 is closer to 90, so we would say that 86 rounds to 90. Great. Round the number to the closest 10. So here's an interesting one, 30. So if we find 30 on the chart, well, guess what? That's already a 10. So numbers that are 10s don't need to be rounded because they're already rounded. But occasionally you'll have a problem like that. So we would just say, in this case, that the 30 is already 30. It's already rounded to 30 in this example. Okay, let's look at something called the 5 rule. Sometimes you'll have a number like 25, and when you find it on the chart, it's in between the 20 and the 30, but notice that it's exactly in the middle. It's the same distance to the 20 and 30. So the question is, which one should you pick? Well, there's a rule for that. The 5 rule says that numbers ending with 5 round up. So all of those numbers in that column where that black arrow was end in 5. Okay, so let's just put like a little red line to show that anything from 5 and going up would round up. Now, up means that it's to the right of a rounding chart, okay? So on a rounding chart, we wouldn't be rounding down in that direction. That would be wrong. We're going to round the other way. So in this example, 25 rounds to 30. And so our answer would be 25 rounds to 30. All right, so let's just review. Numbers that end with 4 or less round to the lower 10. So in this case, it would be on the left side of our rounding chart. And that's just not the top row, would be all the rows, okay? And then numbers ending with 5 or more round up. In this case, it's to the right of our rounding chart. And again, that means all of those rows would be the same rule. Okay, remember that rounding charts are a tool, and they're used to organize numbers and visualize our tens and how they relate to tens and understand. But the key idea that I would like you to remember today is make sure you memorize your rounding chart. It's okay to use for a while, but you really want to be able to see that in your mind and not have to use a rounding chart all the time, okay? So make sure that you work to memorize your facts. Okay, let's do some problems. Round each number to the nearest 10. So we'll bring in our chart so that we can see it together. Now you can pause if you want to solve. I'll wait a second. Okay, let's begin. A, 71. We find 71, and that rounds to 70. Great. B, 26. Did you get 30? Great. C, 45. Well, that's the 5 rule, right? So we're going to round up. That would be 50. And D, 97. And 97 would round up to 100. Great. Here's some more. And pause again if you want. Okay, are you ready? 14, how'd you do? That rounds to 10. 66 rounds to 70. Great. C, 23. Very good. Rounds down to 20. And D, 75. Remember, that's the 5 rule because it ends in a 5, and we would round up, and that would be 80. Here's an interesting problem. Sometimes you'll get word problems that are a little bit tricky, so let's look at this together. Pat has $70 he got for his birthday. He wants to buy a new game. He makes a list of the games he may want to get and the price of each game. Alpha Dog, $75. Crazy Cats, $65. Silly Snakes, $80. Tiny Turtles, $93. What game has a price that rounds to $70? So let's bring in our rounding chart so that we can look at it together. And remember, we're looking for the number that rounds to 70. Okay, let's try Alpha Dogs. $75, so we'll find 75. That's the 5 rule. That rounds up to 80, so that's not 70, so it's not that one. Let's look at our next one, which would be Crazy Cat, $65. That's the 5 rule. That rounds up to 70, and there we go. So our answer is going to be Crazy Cats. And we'll just check the other ones real quick. The silly snakes and tiny turtles would be 80. It's already rounded to 80, and then the 93 rounds to 90, so it wouldn't be those either. Thanks for watching, everybody. Great job today, and we hope to see you on the next one.